Hey everyone, I wanted to come on here and share my story. I had a session with Yoni steaming and Hara the other day. It was my very first time working in this sort of area. I've done a lot of healing, physical and emotional healing, but I haven't really focused on healing in the womb space per se. So coming up to my appointment, I was feeling pretty excited, but also a little bit nervous. So, um, womb hara is essentially a therapy that focuses on the emotional, physical, and energetic well-being of the womb space. So there's usually touch involved, and massage. So it's used to sort of support the health of the reproductive organs, release the stagnant energies that may be there, and promote healing on a deep and transformative level. So it can help with energetic blockages if there's like fertility issues, emotional blockages, and it can also help to just make you feel more connected to that area, that womb wisdom, to have that sort of more intuitive connection with yourself and that space. So um I really felt that I wanted to come into Wimhara as a way to release some old emotional stuff that I feel has really just gotten stuck and stored in my womb area. Um, I don't really have any issues with my cycle. My cycle is very regular, it pretty much comes on the day. Um, but I do have more of the emotional side to it. So just stuff that's tied back to my past, and I've really sort of felt that I just haven't had the level of creativity that I've wanted in my life. And growing up, I used to be so creative. I was always just generating ideas through whether it was writing, through art. I'm a graphic designer. I've done that for like 8+ years. I love photography. Um, and it's like I was always creating, I was always writing little little novels or little articles or blog articles just in my own time, purely out of the passion and the love for sharing, for just sharing things and being able to write down my experiences, whether that's helping others or it's just a way for me to express myself. Um, and I did acting since I was in year three all the way to year 12. I was in multiple plays. And then it's really like not since I was in I'd say like my early 20s that I really felt that in the last decade, I've really felt like a lot of that creative energy has just felt really dulled. And I know that in the womb space, it's like the seat of, it's where we create, it's where we generate, we're either birthing life through a physical human being, a baby, or we're birthing ideas, birthing things into the world that we want to create, whether it's a business or our passion, and we're birthing an idea into the world to share with others. And I've been feeling stuck in both areas because, I want to be a mum. I want to start a family, but I don't even have a partner at this moment. So it's like I feel like I'm not able to create that, birth that into reality. And then the other side where it's like, I want to generate ideas. I want to create things in the world, birth things that make a difference and fuel me. And, I think what was really coming up for me was just a feeling of like, I don't know what I want to create, or I just feel like I almost just sometimes feel like I come up blank and I don't have anything that I can offer right now. It feels like if I'm to create something, it's going to be forced. It's not just going to flow and come out. So that was one of the main reasons why I wanted to work with the womb space and dive into some of this stuff that I've never tried before. And then the other side was the fact that, I've made decisions with my body when I was younger that I would not be making now. When I was spiritually unconscious or unaware, I didn't know about how intimacy works and how sex is a sacred energy exchange, and the people that we are intimate with, physically intimate with, as women, we are creating attachments to those people. And we are merging our energies. So we are taking on the energies of the people that we are physically interacting with. And, being in my young 20s, not really caring about that or even knowing about that. And I felt that I, gave my body away to a lot of people that I didn't know very well or I didn't even know at all. Um, and there's just a lot of discomfort there. When I think back, it just makes me cringe to know that I did that to myself, that I disrespected myself in that way. Um, and I've really just felt a little bit concerned that I've just been holding on to some energies that don't belong to me, some attachments that perhaps, do not serve me at all. I don't know who I'm connected to. I don't know who may have access to my energy, and perhaps that could be why I felt this sense of like a little bit of depletion or just a little bit of not fully feeling myself and fully connected with myself. And so I really just wanted just something that I could clear, because I really feel like this area is holding on to some imprints and some memories that are just creating some tension and some discomfort in my body. So yeah, those were the two things that inspired me to experience Hara and Yoni steaming. So yeah, I'll share my experiences. So I went to a beautiful practitioner's place, and it was at her house, and she had a little like a granny flat or a little garage studio that was set up as the therapy space. And it was just absolutely beautiful from the moment I walked in the door. She had it all set up, and it was just absolutely beautiful. The scents and the smells, everything ready to go. And we had a little intention setting to start with, and I pulled a card, but I didn't check it till the end. And we sat down and went through some paperwork of, stuff that I wanted to work through, and an intention that I wanted to get out of the experience, and some of the stuff that was coming up for me. And when I was talking about the blocks that I felt with my creativity, I got unexpectedly emotional, which was kind of interesting. It's not definitely not what I thought would make me emotional talking about. So clearly there was something going on there that was coming up. And yeah, so we probably sat there for like 15 minutes just having a beautiful, beautiful talk, and meeting each other and getting to know each other. And then yeah, she had already pre-made me a beautiful blend of herbal teas that she was going to use in the steaming. So for mine, I think it was calendula, lavender, and rose. So it was a really gentle, beautiful blend that was meant to, I guess, balance and help me reconnect with that womb space. So essentially, yeah, it was just like a little stool that you're sort of sitting on, and it's got a little hole cut out, which you're sitting on top of. So she got me to change, and I'm just in like a robe, and she gets me to sit down on the stool, and it's just it's just such a weird but really nice feeling to have the hot steam come up. It felt very soothing, very nourishing, and then she put a blanket over the top of me and she was standing behind me. And I had my eyes closed, so it's hard to know exactly what she was doing, but I could feel that she was working in different areas and she'd be stand behind me and she'd have her hands on my shoulders. She was doing a little bit of Reiki. She put some essential oils on like a roller, so she had it on my pulse points with my wrist here. There was one in the center. And I think that, yeah. And then maybe in the forehead, I can't remember. Um, and then she had these tuning forks, which I've never experienced those before. I've never had them touch my body or anything like that. And they were just super powerful. I don't know how to describe it, but when she actually placed the tuning fork on like my body in certain areas to feel the vibration that goes through your body. It's just like it's such a weird sensation, but it feels so powerful. And she was placing it in different areas. And then when she got to my heart space, she put it, I think it was on my heart or on my throat. I can't remember. I think it was in the heart. And I just felt this immediate reaction come up inside me. And it was like my body took a really deep sigh or like a deep breath. So it was like, it was more like, or like, yeah, I can't really do it now, but it's almost like when you're frustrated and there's like a big, you kind of breathing in a lot. It's like you're about to like breathe out and exhale really like, but the big inhale like came up, and then as soon as it got to my throat, it's like it just turned into like pure emotion. And I started crying and having this big release. And it felt amazing to experience it and let go whatever was coming up. But the interesting thing to note is that there wasn't any story attached to it. So I wasn't sitting there being like, oh, I'm crying about this time that this happened, or I'm crying about this with my mum, or I'm feeling so much pain around that. There was just absolutely no story with that emotion. It was just pure and raw, just the physical emotion that was coming up. And then yeah, during that she was like, keep breathing. I want you to keep breathing deep breaths. Um, it had me like hunched over, and I finally like coming out of it, I eventually like straightened out and I sort of calmed down and went back to like a neutral breath. And yeah, and then I'd say like she did another couple of minutes of work on me, and I felt a lot better. And she finished off, and then yeah, and she got me onto the little massage table, and I started off on my lying face down, and she started on my back area doing lots of massage work. And I think she had some beautiful herbal massage oils. I don't know what they were, but they just smelled divine. She had some cleansing scents that she puts over me. Um, yeah, so she's working all over my back, lower back area, and eventually gets me to turn over. And yeah, it's like, and then she moves on to my abdomen, stomach area, and she's working in that space for like, gosh, it just feels like a solid 40 minutes, 50 minutes. Um, and yeah, it's just such a beautiful experience. And there was lots of moments where she got me to do like to breathe in and then through the release. It's like she would massage through and out of it. Um, what else? Yeah, it's hard to like almost recall it because you're so in the moment that you can't, and you're not really seeing what's happening. So Yeah, because she has like a little pack over your eyes. Um, yeah, one of the things she got me to do was um she had a like hands over my abdomen and she got me to take a deep breath in, and then when I exhaled, she got me to make like a shh noise, like to let it all go as loud and hard as I can. And she's sort of like pushing and working through my stomach while I'm doing that. Um, yeah, she worked on my arms, my upper body, and then at the end, oh, hang on. Yeah, that's right. She did the tuning fork again over my body, and it was only again in the one place that it created an effect. And this time, I think she put it right on my throat chakra. And yeah, that gave me like pretty much the exact same response as the first release that I had. It was like that feeling of like, and just like that big deep breath that just like unconsciously arose in me, and I could feel it traveling up. And then as soon as it hit the throat where the fork was, it's like again, it just came straight out through the mouth. And this was like slightly different crying. It was more like, again, it didn't have a story to it. It was completely, again, whoop, the earring just fell out. Yeah, there was no story with that one. Again, it was just pure raw emotion. Um, but that one, yeah, it seemed like it was related to something different because it was a different kind of crying. And yeah, it's like it was so interesting. There were times where she was like blowing on my wrists or blowing on my womb. She did another thing that was sort of like towards the end. It was like on my stomach like that. And then she kind of like quickly brought her hands together and was like, and it just felt like whatever she was working with energetically in the space, it's like she was just sucking it all up and then grabbing it together and then just like pulling it out of me. And like the first time she did that, it wasn't immediately, but it was like 2 seconds after she was like, I kind of had this like, I don't know, I made this like little noise of like, I don't know, just something where it was like, I could feel whatever she'd pulled out. It's like, and something came out of me as well, like vocally. It was really weird, but really cool. She did it a couple more times, but I only made the noise once. And then after she did like this beautiful wrapping with me, so whatever material I was lying on, she was able to like fold all these parts over me individually and then like tuck in the little fabric around me. So I basically was in like being wrapped like a mummy, and she had my hands like this over my womb, and there was a rose quartz crystal in the shape of a heart that was underneath my hands that were like cupped like that over my womb. And then she had me like wrapped all up in the bits that were like tucked in around me, so it was like super tight. And then she worked with my feet a little bit and then wrapped those up, and then worked with my head a little bit and then wrapped that up. So it was literally like only this tiny section of my face that was revealed. And it just felt like, yeah, it felt like you were almost in like the womb space, you know, you felt so warm, cradled, cocooned, safe, and just very deeply relaxed and deeply held. Um, Yeah, and so during that, she did like a sound bowl healing with some crystal bowls in the room, which was really beautiful. And then she sort of did like a sound journey with some different instruments. And then she finished off with like a shamanic drum that was like beating, 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 like rhythmically. And then like it would get faster and faster and faster and faster and faster and faster, like building up this momentum. Yeah, and then afterwards, she slowly unraveled and unwrapped me. And that was pretty much the end of the session that was on the table. And then, yeah, and then after that, we kind of had another little half-hour integration session after to talk about what had come up for me, whatever she had experienced working on me, what had come up for her. And she gave me like a herbal tea. So we sat down like face to face and had the beautiful chat. Yeah, and she said that she'd felt a grief in the heart, and she'd also felt that in my throat there was a sense of like powerlessness. Um, and I don't know whether the grief is related to what I think it is with a an ex-partner of mine who, I very much loved, but had to walk away from that relationship. But I've held on to hope for such a long time. And, it's been such a struggle to move on from this person, despite being the one to leave. It's been like double the amount of time that we even were together that it's taken me to get to a space where I'm wanting to let this person go and to move on. And I don't know whether it is that grief or whether it could be grief in the sense of like grieving the old self or grieving the loss of my old identities. I don't know, or loss of the person that I used to be when this stuff in my womb had maybe gathered. I don't know. But yeah, the sense of like powerlessness came up in the sense of a situation with a person that I'd gotten myself into that was just very cringy and really hard to talk about. And I won't fully share it here, but it was a feeling of like I've gotten myself into a situation and I just have to put up with it now. I'm not in a position to be able to say to stop it anymore. So I think that is potentially where the powerlessness feeling was coming from. And back then, I wouldn't have had the tools that I do now. So I have to really have compassion for that version of myself that was in that situation. And I can't feel shame and I can't feel resentment or hatred towards, a lot of regret towards that experience because yeah, back then I wasn't able, I was still very much in a people-pleasing position and putting my others before myself. And I just didn't have the ability to use my voice to stand in my power and to feel that I have the authority to do so. So that's what was coming up for me in the sense of powerlessness. But, in these types of exchanges, you can't over intellectualize the things that come up, when it's the emotions that are coming up needing to be expressed. You don't need to know the reasons why this is coming up, it's just we don't need to create stories. There's already so much healing happening that we don't need to know the reason. And yeah, so these little things that are coming up, I can acknowledge them, but I don't need to dive too much deeper into them about what this is trying to tell me. What is this connected to? Because it is what it is. Yeah. So during, yeah, the integration, she was just sharing what had come up and what what I could really do moving forward and the compassion that I can show towards myself. And yeah, she also said that I really needed to just find joy in doing creative things without attaching an outcome to them. So, for example, just creating a piece of art or a drawing or doing a dance or going outside and doing something playful that makes me feel fun and happy purely for the joy of that, not to, to have a final polished product out of whatever art or creative project I'm doing. And I can really relate to that as well. And I think when I'm trying to be creative and trying to create something, that sense of pressure of like that perfectionistic thing, like it has to be a polished product, it has to be perfect. I have to create something amazing and meaningful and valuable. But it's like, why can't we go back to that childlike state where we just played and we were creative and it was just purely for in the moment, there wasn't any attachment to what we were creating. And that sometimes when the most amazing, beautiful creations actually happen is when that resistance completely disappears and there is no outcome, there is no pressure that is shrinking you and creating this tension. So that was a message that I got out of that experience. And yeah, she was like, I think you could benefit from either writing a letter or meditating on this past version of you who was in this experience that felt powerless, and let her know that it was okay, that what happened, that that's part of my journey and part of my story. I can't take it back and I shouldn't take it back because it is part of the journey. It's got me to where I am now. It led me to my experience with this womb hara and yoni steaming. Um, yeah, because she didn't know any better and she wasn't who I am now. So holding on to the anger and resentment and guilt and shame, it's like they're such heavy emotions. And when that lives in the womb space, it's like imagine what that is doing to our physical health and vitality in that area and also emotionally. So yeah, that I just wanted to come on here and just share my personal experience, um, without going super detailed into everything. But yeah, it's like I loved it so much. It was really beautiful, and I can't wait to do more of it again. It's not sort of just a one and done thing. It's really builds upon. It's really a practice that can be built upon in each session. I just think you can go deeper and deeper and touch different layers that you didn't before. And I think your body just slowly will start to like open up, the more attention and energy that is put into that space. Yeah, so that was my experience. If you've experienced something similar, um, yeah, I'd love to know what happened with you, or if you have any questions, yeah, feel free to drop them below and or share anything that you wanted to share when it comes to womb healing and feminine energy, connecting with that feminine energy and our intuition and our inner wisdom as women. Because yeah, I think more women are getting called to do this work and it's very needed. So yeah, I will end this here.